So I just got back from a home inspection, and it was a flipper's house. So as soon as I walk in, the flipper was there, this basically the seller, and he says, "I don't know why they hired you, because I personally supervise the work on this house myself, and I could tell you you're not going to find any problems." I said, "That's great. You make my job really easy. But I'm going to go ahead. The client's paid me. I'm going to go ahead and see, what I find." And he turned around and he said, "Go ahead, waste your time, waste their money." I said, "All right, no problem." And you have to understand with flippers and some sellers, okay, they use cheap fixes to cover up major problems. All right, and that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about 10 cheap cosmetic fixes that hide major home problems. And stay till the end, because two of them, I'm going to give you guys two bonus ones, and nobody ever thinks of those. And those are the biggest issues that I've been running into doing these flip houses, these inspections, and some people are just selling their homes. In the meantime, do me a favor. If you like this kind of content, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. Share and give it a thumbs up, and it's greatly appreciated. Comment below, and I do get back to most of the comments. All right, first one, okay, is fresh paint. And you're going to say to me, "Well, Jimmy, of course, he's a flipper. He's going to put fresh paint so people come in and they see it." That's great. But when I see fresh paint, I'll go into the garage, I'll go into the closets, and I'll look for stuff like kilts. It covers stains, moisture stains. You put it on, you buy it at Home Depot or Lowe's or something, and it covers these stains. And when I go, and I'm like, okay, fresh paint, fine. Let me go into the garage, or let me open these closets. And usually what I do is I find gallons of kilts. So now I know it's either it was a really heavy smoker's house, or there was stains and they had to cover up, but they had to cover up something. So I'm like, okay, now my job is to go find out exactly what they covered up. All right, number two, what I look for, like new flooring. When they put carpet down, especially if it's an older home, or they put new vinyl down or something. And I understand, again, a flipper's house, they're gonna comment below and they're gonna say, "Yeah, of course we're gonna put new carpet down. We want to freshen up the house and everything." But I will walk all over that carpet, and if I'm going to feel if there's any uneven floors, because don't forget, with carpet, you could really cover up a lot of stuff. So I kind of like when they put, luxury vinyl down or something, but carpet is a little bit of a red flag for me, especially here in Florida. How many people really want carpet in their houses in Florida? But anyways, you guys comment on that one. Let's get back to the fresh paint, okay? If I go in there and I see fresh paint and stuff, but then I see cracks that have been filled in with chalk, chalk here, patches there. Yeah, maybe there was a lot of pictures on the walls and they had to patch everything. But if I see a lot of caulking all over the place, and I'm going to say to myself, "Hey, what are they trying to cover up?" And then what I'll do is I'll poke at that caulking, and if it's tacky, they just put it up. And I'm like, all right, what caused it to crack? So that's really important. Look for a lot of chalking in a house. You walk into a house, you see air fresheners all over the place, okay? So I'm like, all right, I understand putting one or two air fresheners out. I do understand that. But some of these flips that I go into, or some of these sellers, there's like 10 of them or 8 of them all over. I feel like some realtors carry a box of them in their back of their vehicles. And to me, air fresheners might mean covering something up. I'm looking for musty odors, or smell is really important when you go into a house, okay? It might be just animal smell, dog smell, or it could be a urine smell from the animals. It could be a lot of smokers. And I understand they're trying to cover up, but you really want to know, because once you pull those out of the walls, you know, and those smells come back, you might happen after you buy them. And maybe that's what the kilts was for in the first place. If we did find any kilts or, paint to cover up stains, it was from those odors. Sometimes on wooden floors, they would seal the floors with kilts, to just seal it, to try to hold in the smell and the odor from the animals or whatever, and then put fresh carpet over it. But I'm telling you, once summer comes along, and those aren't plugged in anymore, that smell is going to come roaring back really bad. Because yes, the kilts does cover some of the odors on the floors, but not all the time. So keep that in mind. Here's a big one. Staging furniture. And listen, a lot of my realtors use staging furniture, and you can use it the right way or the wrong way. To make the house look, if the house is empty and nobody lives there, and you're just putting staging furniture in there to make it look good, yeah, that's understandable. But some of the people put so much staging furniture and they're putting it in front of all the defects. Walls, floors, cabinets, picture frames. So if you're going in there and it's just staging furniture, if you possibly take a look behind the staging furniture, take a look behind that painting or that picture or that mirror, see what's there, because usually you say, "Oh, there's a hole in that wall. Or a crack. Let's cover it up with this frame, this picture frame." So that's another one that's they use to cover up a lot of defects in homes. Cheap kitchen cabinets. All right, I run into this a lot. So they put cabinets in. They install cheap, like Home Depot cabinets. The white ones that are Formica on top and everything, just to dress it up, and press wood and all that that's going to last you a couple of years. But look underneath the cabinets, because a lot of times when they put those cabinets in there, they're blocking bad plumbing, bad electrical. So yes, cheap kitchen cabinets to me is a red flag. What was there before? And let me give you guys a really big tip. Before you even go to the house, go to like Bing Maps and look at the history of the home. So you go back and look at what the house looked like from aerial view from this year to last year to 5 years ago, sometimes 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and see what the yard looked like. See if there was a bunch of junk in the yard, old oak trees, and we're going to talk about that towards the end. Like I was telling you why that's important, and I'll explain everything about that towards the end. So keep watching. A big, big red flag is fresh landscaping. And people are going to comment, say, "Jimmy, curb appeal." I understand that. Put some plants, put a little bit of that. But I've been to some houses that the mulch is literally 5 inches thick. Okay? And they're covering up. If it's a wood frame house, a lot of times they're covering up wood damage, they're cracks in foundations, they're covering up defects. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that towards the end also. So if you have a lot of fresh mulch, maybe low spots, they're like, "Oh, look at that low spot," or, there was a tree stump right there, right next to the house growing underneath the foundation. Let's just cover it up with mulch. That's a big, big thing a lot of flippers do. I feel like they all go to the same school to learn this stuff. But again, if you have a good home inspector, he's going to catch that and he's going to move the mulch and he's going to check out and see what's going on underneath the mulch. So a lot of times I walk around the house, the fascia and stuff like that, and they're just chalking it and they're painting right over. So if you're walking around the house, I'm like, why are you just putting chalk? It's still tacky. And they're just putting some chalk in there, putting silicone, putting whatever they can. Plaster, plastic, doesn't matter. They put indoor stuff outside, and then what they do is they slap paint over it and try to smooth it out. So look around. If you really look at the wood around the house, especially the fascia and stuff, you can tell if it's rotten, and bring a little poker with you and poke it and see if it's rotten, because you'll be able to press your finger across it. So that's another cover-up that's very common that flippers and some sellers do just to cover up damage. They just fill it in with filler and then they just paint right over it. So keep that in mind. Here's number 9, okay? I walk into a house and I'm noticing, it's an older house, but I'm noticing all the outlets are new and shiny, new covers, new everything, okay? So I'm like, all right, great. They put new covers because they painted it. They're not that expensive. That's fine. But they also changed the outlets. So then I'm like, all right, it's a kind of a red flag, because what condition was the old outlets in, that they had to replace all the outlets? And maybe they were yellow or a tan, like color, And the flipper says, "Hey, I just painted this white. I wanted fresh new outlets to make it look good." And that's probably true. But at the same time, if it's an older house, it might be a non-grounded house. Maybe it's something wrong with electrical. So maybe it had 2-prong outlets, and now they put 3-prong outlets, but it's really not grounded. They just put them in there. So I would definitely have the home inspector test all the outlets, the ones that they could get to make sure that they're working properly. All right, here's the two bonuses I was telling you about. The big one, and I feel like 9 out of 10 flippers do this, okay? I go in the attic and I see a fresh coat of blown in insulation. Like, I'm talking about 5-6 inches thick. All right. And then I'm like, what are they covering up? Why did they put it in? What was it like? So, I would talk to the flipper, and this guy over here said, "Hey, you just put in brand new insulation." He goes, "Yeah, we did it right before we put it on sale." I said, "Oh, that's cool. Why'd you do it?" "Oh, more to make it more energy efficiency." Like, I don't really think they care about energy efficiency. They just want to sell it. It's not like they're going to be living there and paying the bill. So I said, "All right, that's cool. That's cool." He's like, "Yeah, why? Is there a problem?" I was like, "No, it covers a lot of stuff. It covers open junction boxes, covers wiring, defects in wiring, covers some plumbing. It could cover a whole host of things." So I'm like, "All right, no problem." So I went back up there. I moved I moved some of the new installation, got to the old installation, and I'm telling you, it was loaded with mice, feces, and urine and everything. And then I moved a little bit more. I saw some cloth wiring, some defects, some junction boxes. So they're like, "Hey, it's going to cost us too much to fix, to pull out all this old insulation, put new insulation in, seal it, fix these junction boxes. Let's just go to Home Depot, buy some blown insulation and just blow everything in and cover everything up." That's a big thing. The second thing is, let's go back to the big maps that I was talking about. So you go back and you see a history of photos, and like, "Hey, you know what? I went back 6 years. There's a big oak tree right here, and now it's not there." So I would go outside, and then if I see a new sewer cap, okay, sewer clean out cap, and I would be like, "Okay, usually this year home, they don't have a brand new shiny sewer cap clean out." So I'm like, "Okay, what's going on?" So I would definitely do a sewer scope, because chances are they did a repair and they might have done a partial repair. So I would take the cap off, do a camera scope on it to make sure that it wasn't an old oak tree that just broke into the lines, and they fixed what they needed to fix and left the other part, non-fixed. And usually the non-fixed part is underneath the foundation of the house. So if you see a brand new sewer line clean out, that's a red flag, okay? Find out what's going on with that, and why they did it, and do a sewer scope, which is a camera going down there and looking at everything. So anyways, that's 12 things that are red flags for that flippers do and some sellers do. In the meantime, do me a favor. Consider subscribing. Really helps out the channel. Hey, listen, I put my contact information below. If you need a referral for a realtor or a home inspector anywhere in the country, I built a pretty good network. I worked with a couple of people, and they're doing a nice job about it. And maybe we give you some help out. If you have a question about a home inspection, just let me know. I'll talk to you later. Thanks. And remember, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. Thanks, and have a great day.